Hello, I'm Shawn Winders, Digital Learning Coach for Union County.
I am Taylor Ricker. I am an elementary digital learning coach for Henderson County.
And I am Dana Dowdy, digital learning coach in Graves County.
Thank you both for joining me on this. We're going to go through Google Sites, and we didn't really lock each other down on any particular that we wanted to talk about. So this is free range. This is all level users. I know one of mine is probably a little more intensive than the other, but once again, go through, pick out what you like about what we go over, and use it to your best. And did anybody go with any type of theme with theirs? I think we were kind of all over the place with it.
Yeah, I think I just kind of went pretty simple this time. So,
all right, well, I think I start us off. Yeah. So my first one is building a button navigation for your Google site. So this kind of helps you navigate around your site a little easier. So you have the quick links at the top that you can put in and utilize, but if you have other specific sites you want to navigate through that makes sense while someone's reading this part of a site, you might want them to already be able to jump over to this or anything. You can actually build buttons, and these is a fairly newer, I think at least within the past 2 years, feature that got added into sites. So you just click button, and it's building a little button hyperlink that is kind of defaulted to navigate into your own pages, but you can also do a hyperlink to outside the pages. So for this one, I'm kind of going through, these are the pre-existing pages that you've already built, and you just click button, and you can see that we're able to quickly just build a quick link to another site. And you get a little editing capabilities on this. You can change up their color just a little bit. You can definitely resize them and move them around. So it's not anything like aesthetic you can do a lot with, but it is a really clean, crisp kind of navigation piece that you can put in there. And if you need to hyperlink outside of the site, so if you have multiple sites that you have built or a specific site you want them to go through, you can do the same thing. You put in a button and then just add in that hyperlink to it. Like I said, I really liked when they built this because I've got a couple of sites that I kind of jump around between that are kind of housed, basically build a housing site that's going to take you to multiple other sites. And this was a nice way of having that on there. And it's really clear to how that's going to navigate out. So that was mine.
yeah, I like the buttons. I like, especially if you're going to have a bunch of different pages or sites that you're going to go to, instead of putting them in the navigation and then that being so long, it's just kind of one page here, all my buttons. So yeah, I like it. It makes it look really clean too.
And that's one thing that I haven't really incorporated with, and I think because it is newer, and I really want to, make my sites a little more snazzy. It's pretty snazzy. It makes it look crisp, like he said, and I really am gonna have to go back and reevaluate, because you're right, that navigation line, it gets crazy if you have too many things going out, and people get confused. So that's a really, really great way.
And it's also a way of all right, this is the main place I really want to navigate you to. You can have that kind of bumped up in that list. Yes, the site contains a bunch of things, but these are maybe the core essentials that you really need to get out of the site.
Right. Yep.
All right. Miss Taylor, you are up next.
Okay, so these are just kind of focusing on the page options that are already in there in Google Sites. So when you're building it, you have the insert and then you have pages. So just kind of the different ways, kind of like Shawn was doing with the buttons, but there are different ways that you can kind of manage your pages as well. So for the example that I have a resources page, but then underneath that resource page, I'm going to put subheadings. So it's like reading and math and science or whatever it may be. But when you're looking at the 3 lines over on the left, like the navigation part, the reading and the math don't show up unless you click on the resources, just so it kind of makes all the priority things you want to look at smaller. And then if you want to look at those subheadings, so kind of just another way to clean it up in a way, I guess. So there are a ton of other navigation tools kind of embedded in there as you're doing the pages. You can hide it completely if you don't want it on there. But I thought just kind of using that subheadings is a great way to look at those specific headings that you have.
See, I like the subheadings for just like you said, like I might have a site that's relevant right now and have that drop out and putting it as those subpages where like, all right, these are the ones I'm going to kind of filter through. Those are kind of nice because if you're building this as you're like, this is my subject page for my classroom, this is where I'm putting my assignment. Don't delete what you've done. Just be like, all right, this is the month of January. I'm going to hide that. Guess what I get to do next January? I get to unhide that and bring it back.
It's a great organizational tool too, you know.
Yep.
All right, Miss Dana, you are up.
All right. So this is a really cool idea for students to show what they know. So this example is from a 6th grade social studies class. And one of our teachers who is no longer with our district that has moved to another state did this last year, and I loved it. So basically, each student had their own site. And they took all their civilizations and put it within each site. So each civilization had its own page within the site. And then they also had subpages for geography and politics and all those things within the civilization. So the teacher actually had a Google Doc, but I put them on here just so you could see them. Each day they had to do something with that. So if, like you see here, they can change their background of their title. So on that day 1, they're able to do kind of about me. So it's not geared toward the content, but it's them getting familiar with the tool. So, you know, that first page on their site is about them. And once they get comfortable with that, then that day 2, they did Mesopotamia. So they went through, they made a page for Mesopotamia, and then they had to answer some questions about that and put it in paragraph form, insert pictures, videos. So this is a great way for students to, one, have everything they've learned for that whole year in one site, and they can go back and reference it to study for exams. They can use it to show other students, share it with classmates. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with this. So as you see here, they've got subpages for geography, religion, achievements, and I think she called them grapes. So every civilization had that. So you've got a main page for each civilization and those subpages for the grapes. So it keeps it organized in that sense. And, you know, you can, I'm going to show you later on, but insert maps and things like that. So there's such cool things that you can do with this. And it's not, and here, cite your sources. Like, this is a great way to get your kids to cite those sources that they're using that are not theirs. They can insert Google drawings. They kind of make it their own. So even though they're all doing the same content, it's their writings. The teacher can go in and check to see, check for understanding for each civilization. But what a great way if they have a, at the end of the year and they're trying to study for their K-Prep test, you know, they can go back here and review everything that they've learned. They can also help each other in that sense. So like if you have something on here and other people can interact with that, maybe ask questions of a poll or things like that when you can insert a Google form. So there's just a lot of cool things with it. And it doesn't all have to be digital. Let's say that I have created some jewelry from a civilization and I want to show that off. I can take a picture of it and I can insert that picture, art, food, anything. So it's just a really cool way for students to show what they know.
Yeah, this is great. And I really like, you know, the students themselves can put their own like personalization on it and kind of do what they want. But teachers kind of have a choice too. Like they can have like, all right, we're going to build this way, or, you know, those vet teachers that already know kind of what they're going to do all year, they can have it built, you know, here's the structure that I want, and then send it to them. And then that can all, you know, look very similar, or they can have the option of just kind of, all right, on this page, I want you to show me this, and however that may look to you. So I really like the differentiation that can kind of go along with using sites in this way.
And I will say, like, even younger students, They can do this. It's just like you said, teachers just scaffold that and like kind of take a little more control over what you're wanting. But you can definitely, younger grades can definitely do this, and think of this as something that could build. Like you start it when they're young and they just add to this and they have all the stuff they've ever learned about social studies in one place. So I think that would be super cool.
Yeah, I like this. Social studies was one of my subjects that I taught, and as you said, it doesn't always have to be digital. Give them the assignment digitally, but then they turn around and get a piece of paper and build their own little booklet that then they can turn around and take pictures of and showcase their own little drawings that they've done for the art of that culture and different things. And then, this opens up to that whole pick your assignment too. You have, instead of like, think about it, instead of day 1, day 2, day 3, is like, of these 5 days, pick which one you want to work on today and have that going, give that freedom of flow. But
definitely.
I think about if you did this year, next year you have all these samples to kind of show off to students too, to kind of give them ideas of like, all right, this is what previous ones have looked like. And you show the good stuff and get them kind of guided towards that direction.
Yeah.
So I really like that. That's neat. I think I'm suffering as the next person. Nope. Taylor, did I jump right to you?
You did, but that's okay. I can go. I'll go out of turn.
Order doesn't matter, right?
This one is just a embedded folders within. So I kind of take the route of using a Google site for like a school using it for their staff. So instead of creating a folder and then sharing that with the teachers, and our Google Drives are not the most organized. So this is just kind of another way that you can do it. So the principal or the instructional coach or whoever it is has a folder, and they build, the important things that they need in that folder. And then what you can do is share your entire folder onto this site. So it's kind of taking Google Drive and combining it with Google Sites. So this one, I did resources, and then I did the holidays. So then the teachers could get on there and look at whichever holiday they want, and they can go to that folder. So again, it's just another way to kind of share resources, but just to keep in mind, just like Google Drive, those sharing settings have to be set correctly for those people to be able to look at them.
I really like this because sometimes teachers get lost in the drive.
Yes.
I get lost in the drive. And that's the biggest complaint. Like, how do I get rid of this, or how do I organize this? And I'm like, we really can't very well. Like, this is a great way to kind of solve that.
Well, and you can embed a little sample assignment next to it. Be like, so these are the holiday graphing sheets, and you actually have one that's already there, and then the folder setting next to it. So you really showcase like, this is what it looks like. If you dive into this folder, these are what the other examples are. I like this. This is district sharing is at its finest.
Yes.
All right. So the student portfolio, this is going to be revolving around the sites templates. And I'm so glad that they released these. I've been waiting for these for a long time. You can't get them by going to Drive and loading a new site. You're going to have to actually go to sites.google.com. But there's all kinds of pre-made templates, and they're going to already have some made pages within there to kind of help navigate, and you can build on these. The one I'm going to look at is student portfolio. And this is a good way of showing off a student's accomplishments as they work through their different grade levels. And so my thought on this is start with one grade, and then as the student progresses, they can add, all right, I built this for math for this year. I can then show what my sophomore year was, what my junior year was, and so forth. So they give you little headliners to kind of go in and tweak and edit and just put in that general information. All of this is pre-editable. You can move it around just like it was before. If you don't like a piece, you can delete it and build in your own thing. But this is a good starting place for students. And I think for teachers, just that idea of like, all right, most of this is already built for you. Just come in, get going on it, and we'll tweak as we go together. Or you just be like, here it is. Let me see what you come up with. And just give that full release to them. But you can change out for pictures if instead of a photo of you getting it, if you have the PDF of a certificate you have, the student can upload that and have it embedded in there. If it is a video that they have uploaded to YouTube, you can embed that piece of them actually receiving an award or participating in a sporting event that they want to showcase. So all those things are there for you. But my favorite piece is actually getting into those pages where you actually have that you can go through and say, all right, here's math, here's my topic, here's some of my sample pieces that I've worked on, here's reading, here's some of my sample pieces. And they give you these two starting ones that's for classes. I think it's math and an art class. So they're showing you two completely different variations that you can do. And so your math class, I can make a copy of that, and then here's my social studies work. My art class might fit better if I make a copy of that, and then here's some of my band class things. Here's some of the performances we've done. Here's a recording of me actually playing somewhere. And so the student is actually getting to really show off who they are, what they've accomplished, and Sites is already providing a lot of that groundwork for you. I do wish they had a kind of a here's my assessments piece, and go ahead and put in like your STAR report, your NWA, your AR scores, your K-Prep, your ACT score. Wish it had a spot kind of pre-built for that, but that's a really easy step to kind of add that in, and a teacher guides you through though. But that's the student profile template.
I do really like that because it makes that responsibility kind of go towards the students. So they're having to prove, this is what I know, and they're able to explain it. They can show their site to somebody and talk them through it, and it's a really good skill for them to have.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to focus on that it can be edited and tweaked, for every long as you want. Say you start it in 3rd grade, well, in a freshman or whatever it might be, you might not like the look of it, but that student, has learned and can change it, but all the information is still there instead of having to hunt for it and find where it is. So yeah, being able to edit it and change how you want, that's big there. This is a super awesome idea.
Yeah, I can grow with them.
Yep.
Yes.
I really like that, yeah. All right, Miss Dana.
All right. So we are talking about embedding and inserting things into your site. So before I showed you that social studies site, and students can actually embed their Padlet. So this is just a Padlet that's a timeline. So say, for instance, I put each civilization, I can put the years on them, I can put information about them. And then you just, in Padlet, you just copy that embed code, and you go over to insert or embed, and you pick embed code and you paste it in there, and then bam, it's going to be in there. And you can tweak it and make it bigger however you want it, but it goes right in there. And the best part about it is you can actually use it inside your site. So my site can be on the internet, and I might have a group that I'm working with, and we're working on this Padlet together, and they can access my site and do it with me. So Padlet's pretty cool in that sense that you can embed it into your site. So it's not just the timeline feature of Padlet, but any of the other templates. So the next thing is Flipgrid. So a student can actually record their Flipgrid and embed with the URL into their site. So let's say that they're wanting to explain their knowledge or their thinking of something, and they can actually take that video of them and embed it right there in their site, so anybody can watch it from there. Especially like parents, or if your kids are doing a speech or whatever it is, and you want parents to be able to see it, like this is a great way to make it accessible to them. The next one I think is a Google Drawing. It is being slow, so let's say that I've created a pyramid, or I've created a graphic, and I can actually take that graphic, get it out of my Google Drive, and insert it right into my site. So that's just something I made really fast. I could have typed in that and labeled different parts, and bam, put it in my site. And so that's pretty easy to do right there. So if you can see, the next one is Google Maps. So I have actually made a map that went along with this social studies content. I've mapped out the different civilizations. There's you just go right to that little button in Sites, and you find yours, and you put it in there, and that's also the person that's watching it or goes to your site can actually move around and go to it. And if you've added videos or images or whatever, a description, they can read that. So it makes it a little more interactive. So these parts are some of them are interactive, and that's what makes them pretty cool to use within your site. So pretty cool little things.
And I think of this as kind of piggybacking on your student portfolio. You know, it doesn't just have to be things that you are making in sites. It's links to, you know, this lesson that you did with this teacher, and you're kind of being able to build more in-depth things than just a picture or whatever you're typing on that site. So this is wonderful that so many different things make it easy to kind of put in your site.
Yeah, there's a lot on here that I could talk about for ages. I love this. One of the comments I always had from staff is, how do you do like a Q&A type page on a Google site? Well, Padlet will let you have that Q&A. I've never made the connection of pulling Flipgrid into the sites, and that's just kind of great for as soon as like, hey, you know, I remember talking about that last year in this class, and them tracking it down and pulling something they've already answered a question for as a study tool or a presentation, and just letting them recycle that to me, that's a lot of potential.
And you know, within Flipgrid, as the teacher, you can actually use the embed code. So you can like put the actual topic in, if it's your Google site, you can put that in there for them. But this is just from the student perspective. So yeah, they do it like this.
Well, and both can be, you know, this way that you're kind of embedding stuff can be the teacher use or student use. So yeah, either one can be able to add things like this.
This is a really good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I do appreciate you for doing this with me. I think we showcased a lot of options on here. As I was thinking about sites, like how hard do you want to get with this? How deep do you want to go? And that's the thing, is you can go so many directions with sites, and I don't really see a lot of staff utilizing it a lot. So hopefully this will kind of inspire somebody to kind of step into that realm, because you do have a lot of options and a lot of control with these.
You can definitely get on the rabbit hole with Google Sites.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, thank y'all again. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you joining us, and I hope you picked up on something. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.